On the East Coast, there's a shortage of gasoline today, and there are people lining up to get gas that are not able to get gasoline. This results in the Colonial Pipeline being short of gas, and this runs from New Jersey up down the East Coast. This is only really affecting them. The South is supplied by the Pascagoula. A lot of the South is supplied by the Pascagoula refinery, Chevron refinery. In Raleigh, North Carolina, there were cars lined up 30 deep to access a dozen pumps at BJ's Gas.
BJ's
Gas. There are people lining up
in lines
and then ultimately not being able to find gas in the Northeast. Again, this will be fixed by the end of the week. The national average for gas prices was up 2 cents today at $2.98. And this was according to AAA in Georgia. And in Georgia, the average price of gasoline was up 11 cents. And in North Carolina,
5 cents
is what the data is saying. There's a 58-year-old man named Frank Barnhill, and he's a marketing professional in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach. And he said that the gas station lines were so long, they began running out of fuel Monday evening. He had to leave early to be able to get gas to go to work. The air industry, the airplane industry, the
aviation industry
is being affected heavily. There's a fuel shortage on jet fuel, and American Airlines is having a hard time keeping up with this problem. Southwest as well. Nashville International Airport has been caving due to the fuel pressure. Another lady named Ann in High Point, North Carolina, drove 200 miles to Halifax to be able to get gasoline, and it was still significantly higher. And she bought it from
Sheets
in Morrisville, and she didn't even have enough to fill up her tank. The issue, again, is supposed to be fixed by the end of the week. People in the Deep South don't really have this issue because of the Pascagoula refinery and pipeline located down here. The issue seems to be centralized in the Northeast. I mean, by the end of the week, it should be fine. My question is, what will the gas prices be like next week? Will they artificially increase the prices of gas to, make a buck on people? That's kind of what I worry about is what's coming in terms of gas prices. The supply is obviously going to come back currently, but what happens to the prices when they know that people need the gas? It's these little psychological factors that the pricing analysts, the fuel pricing analysts, they take into consideration when pricing the fuel. And then the largest players in the oligarch, they decide the prices for everybody else unless they're a lower cost. And this is how pricing works in the fuel industry. The people at the top, Chevron, Exxon, those people make the prices. The people in the middle go 2 or 3 cents below that. Those would be the marts, the quick marts, those places. And the people at the bottom, which is like the Murphy Oil, Murphy Express, those places, they go 2 cents below them traditionally, depending on the market. And so I'm curious to see how the gas prices go up, because this may be an event that raises the gas prices quite a bit. There's a Bengal Tiger loose in Houston, and a man was arrested for owning the tiger, and he says he's not
the owner of the tiger.
Said he doesn't own the tiger. He never knew the tiger's whereabouts, and he didn't even know the tiger existed. The man, Victor Cuevas, is 28 years old. He was taken into custody Monday on a felony charge
of evading police.
Are alleging he fled in a vehicle with the tiger after it wandered out of his Houston home on Sunday evening, and this prompted a flood of 911 calls. I would assume. But then again, so Texas, if you watch the Tiger King documentary, they have more big cats than the world. They have more big cats located in Texas than in the world, mostly in private and enclosements. So this I suppose it's more common there. If this had happened in other places, it'd be incredible. There have been a lot of issues with big cats in Texas in recent years. There was an off-duty officer who pointed a gun at the tiger. See, that's kind of the place you can't. How are you going to, if you can't get the tiger, under control, you kind of have to take it out, which is sad, but you'd almost have to do that. The attorney for Cuevas is saying that he tried to surrender and he tried to help direct the police in the correct direction to the tiger and its real owner. So he's saying that he isn't the owner of the big cat, and the cat just jumped in his vehicle and he drove off with the tiger, the big ass Bengal tiger. He came out and said, we made arrangements to surrender at 8:15 p.m. and we were working on everything together. That's what the attorney said. We were assisting them by giving them some information about the owner and how he could potentially locate the owner and correspondingly the tiger.
This makes no sense.
In what way? In what way is... So you're trying to tell me that you're not the owner, the cat was just with you, and you were going to deliver the owner to the police while you had the tiger? I don't think tigers just hang out with... If you ever had a cat, they'll run away from things they don't know. And cats are very similar to tigers. I mean, of course, there's differences, but the way they hunt, the way that they show affection, it's sort of similar. If they don't feel comfortable around you, they're not going to, sit there and just be around you and jump
In your car.
and not eat you, not attack you. There's something fishy here, dude. There's something fishy with this Houston Bengal Tiger conundrum. Apparently, people are saying that having a child in California is becoming get this,
White privilege.
they're attributing this to seeing an 81% increase in childcare costs in San Francisco. I guess this is specifically in San Francisco. And it's incredible to me how California is a state where the majority of births are from Hispanic and other minority groups. How could it be a white privilege? It's because of the price. I suppose that's what they're trying to point at, but then you're pointing at you're not pointing at the activity of having a child. You're pointing at the cost of having a child. So it wouldn't be necessarily having a baby that is white privilege. It would be the financial system that is a privilege, if you get what I'm saying. I disagree with both, but it's saying since 1900, households of color have led the birthing population in California, and now it's not that way. So like what is it? Do you have to have it all? Like, do you know? Like, it makes no sense. It says 72% of single mothers are more likely to pay a salary that does not keep up with basic cost of living. That number sits at 57% for single fathers. Well, I mean, that's because California is expensive as shit. Like, we're talking 6 times more expensive than other states. And it's your fault if you live there.
You can always move away.
So if it's 71% of single mothers and 57% of single fathers aren't making enough money, you can leave. Or if you have family members there, you can rest on them. They're already redistributing wealth there heavily. COVID-19's affected California heavily as well. There have been tons of relief efforts. This op-ed that was in a San Francisco newspaper is being called racist, as it should be. It's absolutely racist. Just because the birthing populace, just because minorities aren't having babies, doesn't mean that it's white privilege to live in California. It makes no sense. How do you draw that line? How do you draw that conclusion, would be my point. In what way do those things equal? They just don't. They don't add up. There's nothing that adds up there. And I don't think it would ever add up. And I don't know who's doing the vetting for these articles. I don't know who's doing the construction of these articles, these pieces, but I understand California and San Francisco specifically is the most liberal place in the country, possibly the world, but even liberals can't logically come together and see this piece as something of substance. It's insane. It's insane. It's not drawing any sort of conclusion that makes any sense. There's no dot connect here. There's no dots being connected here. So you're drawing out of the lines. So the 3 men that were accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery are set to appear in federal court for the first time. They pled not guilty. This was on February 23rd of 2020. It was a huge thing. There was videos of the back of the car showing Arbery and then the men getting into an altercation and them shooting him with a shotgun. The neighbor released video. The neighbor is also involved in the case. I don't know what they'd charge him with, but he's obviously involved and he's being charged with something. The McMichael family shot Arbery at a close range with a shotgun and he obviously died. They were trying to conduct a citizen's arrest because they believed that he was stealing property, and there were calls. There were former cops, so they got calls, and they were part of some neighborhood watch thing. So they were getting calls to look after Arbery and go sort of hunt him down, not hunt him down, but look after him. And they believed he was on the loose taking stuff. Whether that's true or not, he was just running seemingly. It's caused a lot of backlash. LeBron spoke about it. Other stars spoke about it. I believe even Trump spoke about it, saying something to the gist of if they're guilty, they'll go to jail. So they believed Arbery was burglarizing homes in the neighborhood. Travis McMichael, Gregory McMichael, and then the neighbor William Bryan Jr. are under investigation. There was a video showing Arbery on a construction site, and there was no evidence that he ever stole from the construction site. So the day after this happened, Governor Brian Kemp, he signed a bill to repeal a Civil War era that allowed citizens arrest. So this was actually,
At the time, it was
sort of legal. It was like in a gray area, sort of.
Rare.
It was in a sort of a gray area, as this was, you could do citizens arrest. And I guess they understood that. They knew that, the McMichaels. And I don't know if the law would be grandfathered in. I don't know if they were in the realm of realism here. I don't know if they did things they could be doing. The son shot him with a shotgun. The father's a 64-year-old retired police officer and said it was a case about race. It was not a case about race, and it was about self-defense. Seemingly, Arbery attacked the son, tried to grab his shotgun, and while they were wrestling for the shotgun, he shot him while they were wrestling for the shotgun. McMichael, he faces a crime of discharging a firearm during a violent crime, hate crime, and attempted kidnapping. The father is being charged with brandishing a firearm, carrying a firearm during a crime that is related to violence. Again, this is their first court appearance, federal court appearance, and they all pled not guilty. So we'll see what happens, but I don't really know what's gonna happen. We'll see. I know BLM will be on it. So apparently, I have no idea who any of these entities are. Sydney Sweeney. She broke down in tears while responding to Twitter trolls. Criticized her look. Apparently she is a cast member on Euphoria. I don't know what that show is. I guess it's a show, movie, something, some sort of media piece. She cried because people were making fun of her looks. She said,
"It's really fucked up.
people need to be a lot nicer on social media."
She shared her
Emotional reaction to the Twitter trolls.
I'll put it like, you're extremely wealthy, obviously. You make movies for a living. It's the easiest job you can have. Most of the people insulting are either probably pre-pubes or young teenagers, you know? You make money, so just put this into, you know, let's give some context to this. You make millions of dollars, probably, or you have at least $1 million. You're young, you're most likely attractive, because you're not going to get to where you are without being attractive. Going on Instagram Live, going on Twitter, and reacting to these people that are saying something about your appearance when half of them are probably like, oh, stop it, she's beautiful. Because that's how social media is now. You got half trolls, you got half people that are way too nice. They're capping, constantly capping. I guess that's a word that means they're lying. You know, so even if she is ugly, which she isn't, she looks good.
You're going to have people saying you look good either way.
And so I would suggest you just either don't read the comments, or you just be happy and laugh at it. You need to, if you're making a bunch of money acting, there's no reason to be so self-conscious about what these people you have no idea or who they are saying. To get to where you are, you have to be lucky, beautiful, probably talented. I mean, you can,
You know, The Rock's not really that good of an actor, let's be honest.
so that's kind of the point. I was like, what do you even mean? I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder either way. So Sweeney, I don't feel bad for you. I don't think anybody should feel bad for you. I don't think you should be getting any sort of media attention. And I think it's kind of ridiculous that you're getting any sort of attention for this. And I don't think you should be busting down, crying, getting people to feel bad for you because you're self-conscious when you're making millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars to say words on a television show. It's not brave. You're not a warrior. You're not a soldier. You're not risking your life. Take that back. You're not a soldier in 1950 to 1987. So you're not brave to me. Nowadays, the military, and I do respect the military, but we have no conflicts going on, really. The chances of there's no draft. It's not like you're not doing anything special. You don't deserve special treatment. People get bullied all the time. People suck it up all the time. There should be no movement for you. There should be no movement. There should be no, feel bad for this lady. I never feel bad for people making millions of dollars, ever. No sports, no athletes, nothing. I never feel bad for any of them because they go home and they sleep on their millions of dollars. And they can wipe their tears away with $100 bills. Never feel bad for these people. And I don't feel bad for Sweeney either. So apparently, there's this lady, Tracey Hutzana, and she's being accused of being a
serial con artist.
She scammed YouTube she got scammed. She's saying she got scammed out of $2 million from YouTube. Here's the context. She was married to ex-NBA player and Hall of Famer, future Hall of Famer or Hall of Famer, Jason Kidd. And she had a YouTube page called
Homeless Millionaires.
And they advertised a concierge service.
With luxury travel, exotic cars, multi-million-dollar mansions on this.
Homeless millionaires YouTube page. Who would watch something like that? That's my question. How can these pages have any sort of views? It's insane. Homeless millionaires? Okay, either way, she is said to have been siphoning money from Jason Kidd for years and years, and she was like a family member to the kids, and then he found out she was stealing all this money from him, and he divorced her. I don't know if there was any sort of prenuptial. I would assume there's a prenuptial agreement, because if there was not, she wouldn't be doing this YouTube stuff to try to get money, I would assume, because she'd have $50 million, because he got paid quite handsomely because he was such a good basketball player. But now she's accusing YouTube. I would guess this is how it went. She didn't get any money from the divorce. She was like, oh shit, I need my old lifestyle back because I don't have this man buying me a bunch of things. I'm kind of old and washed up now. So I'm going to have to create this VP concierge service and try to bait people into liking me or watching me or thinking something's true, because people are very gullible. It's hard because I'm not very gullible. It's hard for me to understand that people are just extremely gullible. Then you hear about these 80-year-olds sending hundreds of thousands of dollars to people in
Canada
because they can't get across the border, when they're obviously in Nicaragua or fucking, the Congo or shit. You never know, like Saudi Arabia or something. They're somewhere over there, and they're just lying about who they are. People are very gullible. They'll believe anything. So this Tracey Hutzana, she's at odds with YouTube because of her, stealing money from people. She obviously did it, and it's probably because she didn't get any money from the divorce or any money from him afterwards or something like that. I don't know, but it seems pretty obvious. It seems like the dots line up there. It seems, it's full square. There's no circle because this girl's very, very vague. She's not very smart, obviously. So it's here. You can see everything. So Caitlyn Jenner is coming out and saying that she skipped the 2020 election, didn't vote to play golf, and that she has never voted for Donald Trump.
Not once.
Not one.
Let me cut this down.
First.
She has to be lying. I'm certain she's lying. He's lying, whatever you want to call him. He, she, Bruce, Caitlyn, whatever. Certain they are lying. Certain they're lying. Because they're trying to run for California governor. If they say they voted for Trump, completely over. It's over with. You can win as a Republican in California as governor, but you cannot have voted for somebody that they absolutely hate. I'm talking, I believe it was 88% of the vote went to Biden, and Biden's dead in the head.
Sorry.
There's no way you can win if you say you voted for Trump. But Arnold Schwarzenegger won, and he was an entertainer. He was a businessman. He's obviously more qualified than Caitlyn Jenner, but it's a weird place over there in California. Newsom's created quite the circus over there. And Jenner is saying that her experience in business,
including selling exercise equipment on TV,
makes her qualified to be governor. That's okay. Jenner has come out and said that they do not feel strong about the propositions on California's ballot. And these issues include voting rights, stem cell research, and affirmative action. So Newsom is expected to survive a recall this fall, and Jenner has a 6% support among Californians. This is according to UC Berkeley and LA Times. Jenner is arguing her business acumen from selling exercise equipment and being on a television show and becoming a woman qualifies her to be the governor of California. I tell you what, I'd rather have her than Newsom. I would. And I mean, she sold $1 billion worth of exercise equipment on television, and she goes on to say finally that the success of her children and stepchildren is going to help her become the governor of California. Maybe it does. Maybe it just does that.